hello everyone. I want to welcome you to my YouTube because today we have a very special guest that you're going to want to know about, Frank Elleriti. And Frank is a healer. And this is something that I think the world needs to wake up to, that we all have this amazing healing journey here on planet Earth. But Frank has some techniques and some ways that really get to the bottom of issues that permanently heal emotional, spiritual issues. And this is the tool that he uses, amongst other things. But I am so pleased that you've come on to help the world understand about the healing work that you do. And I just want everyone to recognize you and how much you're coming out and helping the world.
Thank you.
After being such a mega star.
No.
And yes, you were in Hollywood working with the likes of people that are just amazing. And now you have your whole journey that you've taken into the healing arts.
Yes.
So I want everyone to watch this video so that you can better understand how we can heal. So thank you.
And when you're done watching it, you can go to my channel, which Joni will link, and watch her do her magic with astrology. Because I know if you've watched her videos on this channel, you've seen how amazing she is, but this will be a really cool glimpse to see one-on-one what it's like. And the way you describe it, I mean, you saw in my chart exactly that I would do something like a major career shift and go into healing. It's all right there. To watch her do her magic is amazing.
Well, not only that, Frank does a healing on me that is amazing. So we're actually sharing our arts and our gifts with each other.
With each other.
And through watching my video with you and your video with me, we show how we share our arts and our spirituality and healing. So yes, thank you so much for coming together with me with this.
It's just the beginning.
Yes. Thank you. So, Frank.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about this healing work you do. It just sounds so fascinating to me that, well, you know, my whole life I've been into healing because healing is ultimately what we're all here to do. And you are an amazing healer. You have some techniques that I want the world to know about because there's so many things that truly work and you're onto something. But you've come from such an interesting past before you've gotten into this healing work. Tell us a little bit about where you've been, what your life's about, who you are, and how you got into this healing work that you do now.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So it was way different from what I do now, obviously, right? My world was like, as a child, I knew I was going to be in acting. I grew up in LA, like that's what I thought I would do. And you know, you've seen my chart. It's all about creativity and creating. So I was always wanting to write and explore and draw. And then around college time, my mom was like, well, please, like, at least go to college, you know? Like, I don't want you to be a broke actor. And I was like, okay. So I studied journalism and I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. Like, this is it. And so I never pursued acting. I never tried after that. Like, it was all about TV news. And so I became editor-in-chief of my college newspaper, and then I started to work at ABC News. I was an intern, and then a producer reporter. I mean, I did everything. I was a desk assistant. And I was there for 12 years. I won 4 Emmys. What was really cool about that life...
That's pretty amazing. 4 Emmys?
Thank you. Yeah, 4 Emmys by my 30th birthday, I think, was when I won my 4th one.
Amazing.
And I thought, like, this is all I want to do, right? And for me, the really exciting part was not like the no sleep for 10 years or all that. It was that I was on the forefront of all these amazing historical events. From, you know, if there was like a massive natural disasters or wars or even like Academy Awards and Dancing with the Stars, like fun things too. Whatever it was always like you were there. And sometimes it was planned weeks in advance, and sometimes it was like, hey, Kim Jong-un says he's gonna bomb Guam. We need you to go there now. And I'd be like 7 a.m. and I'd get up and get on a flight and go to Guam.
Wow.
Like those were the kinds of
That's
calls I would
remarkable.
get all throughout my entire 20s. And I loved it. And I was so, like, that was all I was gonna do. And the interesting thing is back then I thought I'd have a show called Quite Frankly, which is my show now, my podcast now.
Yeah.
But back then I thought it'd be like a news show, you know, which is
Yeah.
so funny how like the
How
dream
things evolve.
evolves but stays the same, right? It's like the format's the same, but it's all spirituality and health. So in my personal life, that's all I did. I would travel the world. I'd meet with healers like you. Like I would
Yeah.
always want to find who is the healer, who's so-and-so visiting and talking about. That's who I want to
I
go
was
to.
always looking for the miraculous.
Right.
Yeah.
The miracles of life, right?
Yes.
Same. And the people who could do things, and I wanted to go see them and learn from them. But I never thought I would ever do anything like that. I mean, it was like not even in the realm of possibility or consideration. And then I met 3 people basically all in the same month, and all of them used magnets to heal, and all of them were like, you should be doing this. And all of them, I was like, no, I'm a journalist. But, you know, like that's all I want. But somehow I decided to study with 2 of them. One was a curandera in Mexico, in Mexico City, and one was a guy named Dr. Bradley Nelson in Utah. And both of them showed me their methods of how they use magnets,
So all at the same time,
all at the same time,
3 people
from 3 different modalities.
and it's all about magnets.
Yeah.
Well, you know, everything happens in 3s, you know that.
Right. Yes, I always
So
hear this.
this is significant. And so tell me about your experiences with the magnets.
Yeah, so what I realized is that magnets move energy.
Okay.
So that's what all
Makes
of these different
sense.
teachers have been showing me. They move energy, right? Even like my friend Shaman Durek, who's an African shaman, he told me all the same thing. He said, yes, in our tradition, we do the same thing. We move stagnant energy in the body with magnets. So that's all I really know. It's so interesting because there are books about this. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. I've never read it. And there's all these different books that will tell you the science and why. I don't know why. I don't know how.
I don't need to know why.
I don't need to know why. And I'm not even interested. I can go read these books and just sit here and regurgitate it and pretend that I know. I don't know. I just know it works.
You just want to do it.
All I know is I get these testimonials always
Wow.
from people. And I never ask for a testimonial. I've never asked for one. So all the testimonials on my website are just literally me screenshotting emails, text messages, DMs that people have sent me. Or they'll like record a video. Or if it's like a really good email that they sent me, like, wow, I was supposed to have surgery. We did a session and I no longer need the surgery. When if it's something like that, I'll say, can you record a video? And then and then I'll put that up. But otherwise, they're all just 100% organic messages I'm getting and saving.
So they move the energy. And is this deal with the emotional body or the physical
Yes.
body or the spiritual body? How does that all tie
So
in?
all of it. That's the interesting thing. Like, and if we do one, you know, live, we'll be able to see that sometimes what's stuck is an emotion, feeling abandonment when you were 4 and your dad left, you know, or sometimes it's a physical trauma. So I had somebody with a back injury last week, for example, and she had really bad back pain for the last 20 years. She didn't tell me how long it's been. She just said, you know, I have back pain and it's been a while. And I kept going back to a certain age, and there was physical trauma, and there was also a recovery that was wanting to take place that just never got to take place. So I told her, when I clear this, all these symptoms that were supposed to happen might happen now, that were supposed to happen 20 years ago. And she emailed me the next day and said, I'm on a 10 out of 10 pain. I couldn't get out of bed. I never like to take medicine, but I took Advil. It's crazy how all this is happening just because we move the energy. Yeah,
Is
but it's
that
all
it?
good.
Yeah.
Because
but
it's
they
like
go through the pain.
they'll go through all the because all that inflammation and everything that just never
has
did,
to come
it
out.
has to happen for the body to heal.
Got
So
it.
it's all good. She'll be in pain probably like a day or two, and then it starts to all just settle. It's like the recovery can finally take place. So sometimes it is physical, and sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's a negative belief that was created. Sometimes it's conditioning from our parents or school.
Right.
Some belief that was created.
Okay.
You
So
know?
do they physically cry and
Sometimes
Yeah.
yes, most of the times no. But what I always get like people tell me is that they feel like they'll say, oh, I feel lightheaded, or I feel something in my heart, or this is so weird, my hands are tingling. Like it's always some kind of a sensation. They'll cry if it's something where just like they really knew this thing, but they've been like maybe sweeping it under the rug for years and not wanting to look at it. Then they'll start to cry, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how do you initiate this process? Do you just start talking with them and finding what their symptoms are that they're trying to cure first of all? How does the session with you work?
So when they first book online, they're putting in their age, which I need because I'll have to tell them what age everything began, right?
Yeah.
So they give me their age and the intention that they have. What is it that they're wanting to work on?
Okay.
If they leave that empty, it usually means that they just want to clear whatever their subconscious wants and they don't really know what that is. So if they don't know, then I'll say, okay, let's just see what your subconscious wants to clear. Or maybe let's clear your heart. Whatever you're holding, like whatever wall you've built around your heart. That actually is a Dr. Bradley Nelson thing. He calls it a heart wall, like this wall around your heart. So sometimes I'll say, let's just clear that. Or if they do have an intention, I'll say, don't give me any more. I don't want, like when we get on the call, for you to tell me when it started, who is involved. Because all that either doesn't matter because it's like, it's not important to what we're clearing. We don't need all the story and the background and, you know, all that. We don't need it. It's a story that was created and it's been built upon over the years, right? Like you just add more and more to the story. So either I don't need to know or it's gonna come up in the session anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so most of the time I don't want to know more. Just the intention. What is your intention? What is your age? And from there we just ask the subconscious. And what's cool about that is like my bias won't interfere. Like I've had somebody once, he came to me and he was really funny. He's from Florida and his wife had come to me and, well, they both saw me speak at a retreat, but his wife did a session with me first and then he did his and he was like, did my wife tell you all of this? And I'm like, no, I promise. Because everything was like exactly stuff that he was going through. And he's like, did my wife tell you this? And I'm like, no, I promise. Then he goes, and we were clearing around his marriage. And I said, you have too much vitamin C or ascorbic acid in your body. And he's like, what does it have to do with my marriage? And I said, honestly, I don't know. Your subconscious is bringing it up. So somehow it's correlated. I don't doubt, I don't even question anymore. Because I've seen things now that I'm like, look, my brain doesn't know how this makes sense. Somehow it does to your subconscious. So he said, okay, well, you know, vitamin C is good for you. So I don't understand why this would be a negative thing. So where is it coming from?
Yeah.
And he was like really wanting to know more.
But is this all psychic that you're getting? Just
no, so it's I'll explain that in a sec.
Okay.
So, but with the thing, I said blueberries. And so the way I found that out, this will actually answer your question, is I took out a chart of all the things that can have vitamin C.
Yeah.
And I just started muscle testing. Is it this? Is it that? And then we landed, it went really strong when I landed on blueberries. So I said, I think your vitamin C abundance, like too much of it, is coming from blueberries. And he starts laughing and he's like, I eat a box of blueberries every single day.
Wow.
So
I think that'd be good for him, though.
You would think that'd be good, right? And it probably is, but there's something in there. Maybe it's causing an emotional or hormonal imbalance that's now making you more aggressive and that's causing fights in your marriage. I don't know what it is.
Sure.
Somehow that is affecting your marriage.
Wow.
But it was, of course, like, you know, out of the 50 things I cleared, that was the one that would have been like weird like that. The rest were like, well, you feel taken for granted. And that started at this age. And he'll be like, oh, that's the year I divorced my first wife. Or, you know, whatever it is, it always ends up matching. So what I'm doing is, it is intuitive first, right? So everybody's, obviously, there are other people who work the same way that I do or use similar methods, but everybody's got their own thing. And for me, it's definitely intuitive first. I already know where I'm going before I get there.
Through knowing what their ailment is?
No, not at all. But just from my own guidance.
Okay.
Like internal guidance. I already know it's going to be an emotion. And this is going to be a mental thing. But then I start using muscle testing.
Right.
And this is part of what I learned from Dr. Bradley. The muscle testing helps enforce of like, oh, this is definitely what it is. Like I'll double check it and it's like, it's strong. And then I use some of the stuff that I learned from him and from this curandera, like of how to move, once we find it, how to move it. Okay. Also certain prayers that I'll be saying internally, and that's more of like what I learned from the shaman side, is like prayers that I'll be saying internally as I'm clearing it. Right? So sometimes we'll find like actual entities and spirits that are attached to someone and draining them. And as I'm clearing that, that's when I'm saying a prayer. And then I'll ask them to either repeat it with me or to at the very end say, this is affirmed for me. Okay. And when they do that, it's just, they're also affirming this intention as I'm clearing.
I see.
You know?
So you find the culprit pretty much of what's causing their problem. and then you clear it with the prayers and the magnets.
Yeah, and then just like that, it's done. Within seconds, it's gone. And people will say it's like years of therapy in one session.
Right.
Because they're like, wow, I knew all this. Either I knew all this, or sometimes they'll be like, whoa, I totally either forgot about that or didn't know it was affecting me. Or they'll know about it, but like we talked about, off camera, you and I before, or we talked about this in my episode that when you're on my podcast, how through therapy, they can understand it. They can come up with tools of how to deal with this as it comes up, but it's not just clearing it.
Right.
And so we'll work together and literally it's just gone.
Right. Oh, that's groundbreaking.
Totally.
Because, so many people, they go, oh, I went through all this psychological stuff with my therapist. I'm over it. But they still have the issues.
Exactly. And with me, like the memory will be there, but that charge that comes up, like when you think of your ex-husband and you're just, the bitterness starts to come up, that goes away.
I got it.
It's like the memory is still there. You still remember what they did, what you did, what happened, but you're not triggered by it anymore.
Right.
It's not creating misalignments and imbalances in your body anymore.
So that's that emotional charge that makes us sick.
Yes.
So do you work with people also that say, I'm blocked. I can't write this book. I feel so blocked. Or I can't get my business to work. I'm blocked. Do you work with blockages such as that, or is it mainly just health issues, or is it both?
It's both, but it's actually more that than health issues.
Really?
The health issues I think is secondary.
Okay.
It's like I would say 40% of the people come with health stuff, and 60% come with like not happy in their relationships, not happy at work. They feel like they know they're capable or want to do this thing, but they don't know how, or they don't know why they stop themselves, or why they self-sabotage, or why they're so hard on themselves. Like that's what we clear, the self-abuse. The really, the negative thing that's keeping you from doing the next thing. And sometimes it can be like, I really want to create this new job idea, but I'm so burned from my last job and how I was treated there, or how it didn't work out, or whatever. So then we just clear that. Let's clear those taken for granted, that discouragement, that I'm not good enough belief, the unworthiness. But what's interesting is I also notice groups of people, clusters. I don't know if you get this with astrology, but it'll be something where like in 1 week, all of a sudden I have like 4 former youth pastors.
Absolutely.
Do you see this too?
Every day when I do my readings, there's a theme.
Yes.
Same theme the whole day.
For sure. Me too. It's usually a day.
Yeah.
I'll have like all moms that day.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yes. And one time, believe it or not, 3 people had the same birthday.
Whoa.
Now that's record breaking, but you know, different years, but still.
Even 2 people having the same birthday. That's pretty rare.
3.
Yeah.
I was just like,
isn't that cool? These themes happen.
I know.
I notice it all the time and I love it.
Yes. Me too. So I know that one day is going to be nothing but relationships. The next day is going to be nothing but feeling blocked in their work.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like it relates to you too?
Always.
Me too. I'm like, that's what I'm going through.
Of course. Because, we're here to learn through give and receive.
Yeah.
You learn through what you do. And you heal, but they help heal you.
Thank you for saying that. I always I want them to understand that because they always are so grateful. Thank you for what you do. Oh my God, this is so amazing. And I'm always like, no, thank you.
Exactly.
It takes you willing to come here and do this work and look at your stuff and do the shadow work that you're doing. You're doing this for all of us. A part of me was just cleared.
I know, because we're all connected and we all have to learn from each other. It's always what you put out, you get back, and back and forth. So, I say the same thing. People are healing me while I'm healing them. And it works simultaneously. Yeah. That's the best way it works, isn't it?
Yes.
Because when that happens, you know it's right.
Yeah.
It feels right, and the energy's there. It's like an energetic field that we're feeling.
Yes, and we're clearing it for the whole field.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit about these magnets. Now, you know what? When I think of magnets, I think about the sun and the earth and everything. The reason why everything's in its orbit and orders is magnetism.
Wow.
There's a positive and negative charge that keeps our planet doing what it's supposed to do in its orbits and connection. So that makes a lot of sense that magnetism is like at the core and the bottom of how to balance energy. Because if our planet wasn't balanced, our planet would go flaring off into
Such a good point.
who knows what, but there's that balance of the positive and the negative.
Yes.
And so you know it works. You don't know especially
I don't know
how
how
it works with the energetics in the body.
Well, you know what's really interesting is you bringing up magnets is before I was even doing healing, I mean, I was going to people, but not doing it myself. I still am into biohacking. I speak at biohacking conferences all over the world.
That's interesting.
And biohacking is all about hacking your body using modern technology. Like the ones I always go to are like, because everybody knows cryotherapy, just getting the body really cold,
right.
Infrared sauna. But there's a lot of really incredible biohacks that people don't know about. My favorite is called PEMF, Pulse Electronic Magnetic Frequencies. And I always would tell people this is my favorite biohack. And I would say that before I ever started to use magnets as healing. And what it is, so I had a shoulder injury once and they used this on me and it helped it so much, like to the point where I first couldn't even hold the phone up to my ear. And then I was able to like work out again. Everything was fine. It's like these pads that they put on your body, different parts of your body, wherever the injury is. And it just sends pulse electronic magnetic frequencies. And what that does is repairs inflammation. It gets the body healing. It gets the blood flow moving again. Because if there's no healing, it's because there's a lack of blood flow.
Yeah,
just like
stagnation.
acupuncturists use stagnation. So this gets this moving. So you're right. It's like the whole planet, all these planets, they're all working somehow through this magnetic energy.
Right.
I don't fully understand it, but you asked about like certain points. So this meridian right here, it starts here and goes down to the base of your spine is the governing meridian in Chinese medicine. And that's what we're using. Yep, from the forehead to the base of your spine.
Okay.
So when I'm clearing, just like, that tip part of it that's what we're somehow there's a link. This is what Bradley Nelson taught me. There's a link between the governing meridian and then this healing with your intentions. So even when I'm dealing with people who are like, well, what do I do when I feel something in the moment and I'm stressed or whatever? I say, use your hand, because we all have magnetic energy in our hands. So even if you don't have a magnet around, but if you do, great, use that. Even a refrigerator magnet. Seriously, they work. But you can just like think about this thing that you're feeling in the moment, because you're not gonna be able probably to identify it the way I can.
Right or left?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Good question. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Sometimes you're right. It does. Like I actually create pocket prayers, I call them, for clients, where it's like a prayer you can, and I don't even advertise it, but I'm going to start talking about it more like openly, because right now I only do it for my long-term clients who have been with me for a year or longer, or 6 months or longer. And there are these little prayers, and I do entire rituals around them, and I put certain sacred powders on them and ash, and then I literally heal it in a healing quantum thing called the Lila Quantum, which is like my favorite thing. I always talk about it, and then I send it to them in a little pouch, but I always tell them wear it on your right side only. So it's interesting that you asked about the right hand, left hand, because you're right. There's sometimes it does matter. In this case, it doesn't. Just use the hand that you're dominant.
Like the polarity too.
Yes. Yeah. So I use my right, just dominant hand, but it's more about, I think, for me, the intention. What am I clearing? I see it leaving them.
Okay.
And sometimes it's ancestral, where it's like I'll say you have this betrayal, but it's not yours. You inherited it from your grandmother on your dad's side. Somehow they felt betrayed and they passed it on. So
does this just pop in your mind so that you know that that's what it is? Is that how it works?
So again, it's like yes and no. So it's the initial hit that I get, and then I double check everything with muscle testing.
I see.
Yeah.
So the initial
always
hit
goes
you
back.
get, then you muscle test it, and that's how you know.
And really the part I think that's more, so I use a lot of Dr. Bradley Nelson's things, like his tips, which is like muscle test. He has a certain chart that I can go to that helps me know where I'm going. But then I use the intuitive part is the part where they'll say, because this is not the part that was ever taught to me by anybody, not the curandera, not the shamans, anybody. They'll say, sometimes the clients want to know more. So I'll say, you have creative insecurity at the age of 10. And they'll be like, I don't know what that is. And I'll say, well, we don't need to know. I can clear it anyway. But if you really want to know, I'll let you know. And they'll say, yeah, I really want to know. And then I'll start asking my subconscious. And then I'll tell them, okay, this was when your little sister something happened with your sister. I won't go that specific. I'll say something happened with your little sister. It somehow involves her and school. I don't know, is there a correlation? And they'll say, oh, my sister went to the hospital when I was 10. My parents, all their attention went to her. So I was left doing my schoolwork alone. No one really cared or helped me with it. And so I had some creative insecurity. Like somehow we'll get to the bottom of what it was, but that's all the intuitive part. That's the part where I'm, okay, they really are adamant that they want to know what this is before we clear it.
Yes.
And then I'll start intuitively helping them figure out what that was.
And that's a good example. In that instance, that wouldn't come to their mind right away.
Right, exactly. I mean, some people like really don't know, and some people know exactly. You'd be surprised. I'm not that type, but some people, every single year I give them and everything I clear, they can tell me exactly what it was.
Yes.
And sometimes they'll say, it just flashed in front of my eyes. I forgot about this. And I'll say, yeah, that's what it is. Like your subconscious is putting it in front of you so that we can clear it. But usually I tell them, it usually is the first thing that you thought of.
Yes. And I think sometimes just the memory of something that they didn't realize that had such an effect on their life. And like, yeah, that has pretty much controlled my behavior. And this goes back to this date and this event.
Yes.
And I think just the realization helps people.
Yeah.
So I do think people
time.
need to know sometimes.
Bringing it to the awareness even is enough. Yeah. And you know, sometimes like you brought up a funny thing when you said they think that they're like, I was over that, right?
Right.
Or I didn't know that affected me. There was this one woman from Germany. I'll never forget her. I always tell this story, and it's probably like 3 years old now. When she was like, I heard you on a podcast and I booked a session, but I don't need anything. I'm fine. Like literally she started the session that way. I'm fine and I don't need anything.
I don't need anything.
I'm just curious. And I was like, okay, well, let's see what's there.
That's a challenge.
Right? Yeah, totally. So I'm like, oh God. And I just I was like new at it like 3 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
But we keep going to age 17 over and over. I mean, almost the entire session. And I was like, what happened? And she starts laughing. She said, well, 17, because she's in her 40s now, married with kids. And she's like, 17, my parents told me we were visiting my aunt in Bavaria. But we ended up, what they were really doing is moving us there. And so we went there, we visited my aunt, but we never came back home to Germany. So I didn't say bye to my friends, my school was new, like everything changed.
Yeah.
And she goes, and she was telling me this in the session, she said, but that was the best thing, like it was the best thing for the family. I recognize now as parents why they did what they did. I get it now, it was a better life for us. And I said, yeah, you get it. You get it consciously, you understand it, you're a mom now, but your body is still in shock, your body still doesn't understand, your body still feels defensive, your body still doesn't trust others because your parents told you were doing this thing, but it was really another thing. So when we cleared all that, she messaged me the next day. I still have the little email because I love it. She's like, oh my God, I thought I was happy. I told you I was happy, I didn't need anything. Now I know I'm really happy. She's like, I just feel so light. I feel like I've been holding on to all this stuff. It's not there. So that's a good example of someone who's like, I don't think I need anything. I'm happy. I'm in a good place. But there's still always something there that you don't even realize. Like by the way, when I first started doing this work on my own self, because that's how I practiced, I had so much nervousness. And I was on camera on my YouTube channel. I was doing things on TV. I was producing and on camera. And then I was like, I'm not nervous. I've been backstage at Dancing with the Stars on camera live for 20 minutes straight, having to just think of new things to do and not let it, they'll be like, you're live for 20 minutes. Keep finding things to do and people to talk to. And I never have been nervous, or I didn't think I was. When I cleared it from myself, I realized how nervous I was and how, like right now we would be talking, but there'd be this underlying nervousness where I'd be shaking a little bit and I'd be thinking I was just excited, but no, there was nervousness. And I didn't know it was there until it wasn't there. You know what I'm saying?
How did you clear it?
With the magnets, the way
Just
I would.
that,
yeah.
and now-
So I just kept identifying that I had this nervousness. It just kept coming up. Nervousness, so much of it. Different instances in life. And yeah, I would just clear it from myself.
Most people, though, are nervous. I think it's like the most fearful thing of all is public speaking in the world.
So true.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember when I used to be extremely, I couldn't even speak. And now, of course, you just have to get over it somehow. But I think it's like just insecurities, don't you?
Yeah.
You feel like, what if I look terrible? What if people say this? Or just the insecure feeling of being so vulnerable up there, exposing yourself, and what if you screw up?
And I have to add to that because you just said insecurity, right?
Yeah.
And I always have to clarify when I'm doing clearings for people when I bring up insecurity, because they start confusing it with low self-esteem. And I'm like, that's another thing. Insecurity is not feeling safe. And that's true.
They are the same. They're not.
Similar, but they're not. Insecurity, but you're right though. It's not low self-esteem. When they're on stage and it's insecurity, it's not feeling safe. Thinking what's gonna happen if I mess this up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we still feel that we're gonna be excluded from the tribe. Even though our minds are evolved now, or we think they are, there's still that lizard mind that thinks, if I don't do a good job or whatever, if I'm not good enough, I'm gonna be exiled from the tribe. I'm considered not worthy or not useful. Yeah, and that's like our biggest fear is tribe and community. Like that's what we want. So to be excluded from that is a massive fear psychologically.
Interesting.
But I feel like, and this is only coming up now, a lot of and when I first started doing this work about 3 or 4 years ago, a big thing was unworthiness. It came up in almost every single session. Now, I can't tell you the last time I cleared unworthiness or worthlessness from anybody.
You know why, don't you?
No, tell me. Why is that?
Because it was something you were trying to clear in yourself. That's why you kept getting all the people with the insecurity.
Oh.
But now that you've healed it
so it's
in
not that it's
yourself.
not in the field. It's just that I'm not attracting those people anymore.
Exactly.
Wow. See, I'm over here thinking, wow, are we moving beyond unworthiness and worthlessness as a whole?
You are.
Interesting. It has not come up in probably a year.
We attract it. Other people are mirrors to us.
Whoa.
Yes, so
it was coming up in every session,
that was
Joni.
because it was your issue.
Wow.
And now you've healed it.
You're so right. So right.
But at least, as a healer, we can see what we're attracting. So therefore, what we're healing in others is what we need to heal in ourselves. We said this initially.
Amen.
And it's so
yes.
true.
So true.
So you've healed that. Now
yeah. It does not come up. It's very rare that it comes up. Like 1 in 30 or 40 sessions.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That is so funny.
Wow.
But it was your issue the whole time.
Thanks for that perspective. I thought you were going to say something astrologically, like, well, you know why, right? Like maybe like this thing that was causing unworthiness.
Sure
maybe there's something there.
Too,
yeah.
But
if we really looked into it, you'd probably find it.
But still, it's like, it's like I always wanted to convince people that astrology worked, right? So I'd have all these Bible verses. I'd have all these facts to prove astrology. But what kept happening was the more I wanted to prove it, the more people I kept attracting to prove it to.
You would attract skeptics?
Yes, because I was always trying to prove it. And when I finally realized one day, you're attracting those people because you feel like you have to prove it to somebody. Let it go. Who cares what they think, if they believe it or not? And now I don't have to explain it to anybody.
That's how I am with the doubt. Remember I talked about the blueberries?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I don't know why it's coming up. Whereas when I first started, I'd be like, oh, I don't know, you're right. I guess vitamin C is good. Maybe it's like, no, I'm like, look, I don't know why your subconscious is telling me this, but you need to stop eating blueberries.
Yeah.
Okay?
You gotta stand up to what you're being told.
Totally.
And I did that too in astrology, where people say, no, that's not true. And I'm looking at the chart and I said, yes, it is.
Yes.
And then finally they back down and say, you know what, you are right.
Yes. I have a lot of these CEOs, you probably do too, and they're like, I'm not indecisive. I don't have indecisiveness.
Right.
And I'm like, look, you do.
Yeah.
And then it's always true. It's like the nervousness I had where you won't notice that you were indecisive until you're not.
Right.
Then you're like, oh man, I was a little indecisive.
Yeah, you gotta, what you're being told, or what I'm seeing in a chart, we have to stick to it and not let people try to talk us out of it because it doesn't lie.
Yes.
What I'm seeing, what you're being told, it doesn't lie. You're right.
Yeah.
So.
Should we try this on you?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this would be so cool.
Oh, good. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right, we can do it a few ways, right? We can talk about a specific intention, or you can just say, let's see what comes up. What are like the biggest blocks around my career, around my university, around my sleep, around my whatever? Like you pick.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's just I'm feeling like I'm going to miss out on something, but I cannot sleep, or I'll wake up in the middle of the night, like around 2, and then I'll lay there for 2-3 hours.
Really?
Yes. It drives me nuts. And then my mind starts thinking more and more and more and more. And then it's just a terrible cycle. I don't sleep enough because my mind, I keep thinking it's too active, but there's got to be a deeper reason.
Oh, this will be fun to look into.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so I am going to look at my phone a lot during this, just so you know, and I'll be writing a few things down as we go.
Okay.
But okay, so I am going to set the intention. If you want at the same time to also just think about that intention and think about seeing it clear and what you want from this.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll set the intention to just connect with you. And this bodied person sets the intention to connect with Joni for the remainder of the session, to clear any emotions, memories, beliefs, or anything else that's contributing, whether it's a misalignment or imbalance, to the sleep issues. Any guides, angels, or any spirit or higher ascended being that wants to be with us for the session can join in and help us clear this. Am I testing for Joni? Am I testing for myself or Joni? Good. So you'll see me kind of doing things with my hands. And this is called muscle testing. There's a really good book that explains it for people who maybe have never heard of muscle testing. It's called Power versus Force, and it's by Dr. David Hawkins.
Okay.
Yeah, really
Power
incredible
versus
book.
Force.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, when I first started this podcast, I'd always ask the guests to recommend a book. And of course, like if it was somebody like you who had written books, it would be their books.
Yeah.
If they didn't, I would ask them to recommend a book. And I would say 50 to 60% recommended Power versus Force.
Okay.
It's a powerful book. It's very dense and hard to understand, but it explains kind of what I'm doing, this muscle testing. Okay. So, all right. Is there anything that's contributing to you not being able to fall asleep at night? Is it energetic? Yeah. Okay. So we already got the first thing. Is it occurs? So it's kind of a belief, but it's not necessarily from you. It comes from something that happened or someone told you and you took it on to be a belief. Okay. And I'm going to find out what that was. Okay, good. Okay, so the belief is I'm broken. And this can be physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, we'll find out how it correlates with. It could be like, I can't sleep, I'm broken. Something's wrong with me. It could even just be that, and that needs to clear before, the rest of it. Do we need to get an age? No, can we clear it? Good. So if you want me to get an age for any of these, let me know.
Go ahead.
Okay?
I want to see.
Okay, good. So let's do it. So I am going to clear this and then I'll get an age. Are you comfortable sharing your age?
Right now, 68. I was going to say 60 something.
Which you could do too, but if I'm going to get,
Yeah.
Is it from, yeah, that's why I asked, because this is what I figured. It's new, 65. It's from age 66.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Okay, so it is telling me to get more, even though I already cleared it. So maybe now it's your subconscious wanting to know what it was. So I can tell you, is it related to yourself personally? Is it related to family? It's not related in any way to family. Is it related to sleep in any way? So it is somehow related to sleep. So that would tell me that this is not something new. By 66, you already were having this sleep thing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Do we need to know more than that? Can we clear it? Is this belief because you weren't able to sleep? No. Was it causing it? So this is not, I'm broken because I can't sleep. It's actually this feeling of being broken is causing the not being able to sleep. And you might on a conscious level not at all feel I'm broken. You don't give me that energy at all. I'm not feeling that as something you would be consciously aware of. There's this subconscious thing that when we clear it, somehow it'll help with sleep. Okay? So we're gonna clear that. Good. And then I always double check, so did we clear that? Yeah, see, so all muscle testing, just every time ask, did we clear that? Okay. Is there more? Is it energetic? Good. Okay, so there's something else. This is called, and this comes from Dr. Bradley Nelson, and he calls these broadcast messages. So it's almost like you're a radio tower and you're putting out this frequency and people are picking this up. So you walk into a room and people are just picking up all the frequencies that you're putting out before you ever say a word, right? And so one of these frequencies is a negative one, and it's also part of why you can't sleep. 3, good. Force me, get away. On me, hate me, hate me. Good. So is this a broadcast? Is a broadcast in column A, column B, and column C? Good. Is it an auto? Symbol 1, symbol 3. Force me, get away, give up on me before the age of 20. Okay, so this is old, really old actually. So I don't know how it's affecting your sleep all the way now in your 60s because it's from before the age of 20, but the broadcast is give up on me. 10. Oh, it's really old. Before the age of 5. 5, 4, 3, 2. Do we need to know more? Can we clear it? So unless something very significant happened and you can share, otherwise, age 2 is when it started.
Okay.
Give up on me. And usually when I tell people if something's at age 2 or that young, imagine like terror. If I told you you were terrified at age 3, that same thing would be not in the least terrifying today. So don't imagine a car accident, right? You waking up and your mom not being in the room at age 2 is terrifying. It would not be now.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I do know what you're
So
saying.
something at age 2 created this broadcast that you started to put out, give up on me. But, you know, the body remembers, so it's from age 2, but it's still somehow there. And something is triggering it that's causing the knot. Something in your current life is triggering that.
Okay.
Good. It tells me there's more. Did we clear that? Yep. Is there more affecting sleep, energetic, post-traumatic, offensive, mental? Okay. So all 3 of these so far have been mental.
Okay.
And another mental one now. Good. No will to change or transform. No will to move forward. No will to be open before the age of 30. Before the age of 25. So older one too. Before the age of 20. Before the age of 15. Before the age of 10. It's so weird that this would be affecting your sleep because it's from age 3. And it's no will to be open at age 3.
No will to be open?
And usually what that means is like, let's say your parents, I'm thinking of to a 3-year-old, were trying to get you to share or, hey, perform for our friends. And you're like, I don't want to, or I don't want to talk about this, or I don't want to express. Somehow there was like no will to be open with what you were feeling or thinking. You didn't want to share it. Okay, so actually let's do this. Can we clear the biggest possible block? The biggest thing that's affecting your sleep, that's disrupting your sleep. The thing that would make the biggest difference. Okay, good. This is what I thought would happen. So there's a misalignment somewhere. Is it a system misalignment? I call it misalignment. It's actually one of the chakras is misaligned. And let's see, is it in the crown chakra? It is. Root chakra, the sacral chakra. Is it in the solar? Is it in the heart? Is it in the throat? Is it in the brow? It's in the crown chakra. Again, everything has been mental so far. So it's
I'm
all
mentally
been mental.
deranged.
All the best people are. So the way we clear this, right? Like I'm not gonna now from...
Can't get out of our head.
Can't get out of our heads.
Yeah.
Stay up all night thinking there's things to do. Yeah. So true. It's like the yin and yang, right? It's like helpful, but also not.
And helping an astrologer either, because that's all we do is think.
Oh, true. And like seeing how does this fit in with that?
Exactly.
And So I'm not gonna now just go like this and it's clear. That's not what happens. What we do is we find out why is the crown chakra misaligned. So I'm gonna now go in there and find every associated imbalance that's causing that.
Wow.
Okay, so are there any associated imbalances that are causing the crown chakra to be misaligned? Okay, is it? Before the age of 20, before the age of 15, 16, 17. Do we need to know more? Is this with your husband? It's with your husband. So knowing who you are, knowing that your husband and you are high school sweethearts is what made me ask, is this with your husband? You have a cording, which is a codependency, an energetic cord with him, and it started at age 17 is when the codependency was created. That doesn't mean it's when you met him, but it's when the codependency was created. Okay, so we are going to clear that because, and I've had people who are married before who are like, wait, should we clear that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't worry, we're clearing the codependency. We're not clearing the love, we're not clearing the memory.
No, I'm good with that.
Did we clear that? Good. Is there any other associated imbalance causing the crown chakra to be misaligned? Okay. Yeah, there is, and it's another mental block. It's a will to, it's a no will to, it's a broadcast message, it's a memory field, it's a program. It's actually a program like that first thing where it comes from something else. It's almost hypnotic. Before the age of 20, before the age of 30, before the age of 25, 24, 23, do we need to know more? We don't need to know more, but if anything comes to mind, something happened at age 23 where you felt I'm all alone, or I'm in this alone, something like that, where you didn't feel like you had the support. I'm all alone. 23. Does that resonate?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's when we broke up.
You and your husband?
Yeah, we broke up for a year.
So how interesting. We're looking at your crown chakra. You have the cording that was created and the breakup.
Yeah. And then the year after that, we got back together and got married.
Wow. I love that.
I know.
Is there any other associated imbalance causing the crown chakra to be misaligned? Yeah, there is. But did we clear both those? Yeah, good. Energetic, post-traumatic, offensive, another mental block. Okay, a will to, no will to. It's a broadcast, a memory. Before the age of 20, before the age of 30, before the age of 25, 25, 24, 23. Is this related to the breakup? It's also related to the breakup. It's a memory. The memory is right here. It's a cloud that just follows you around everywhere.
I cried every day for about a year.
And see, the memory's still there. But this is, to me, I don't know if it is for you, but because I've done so much of this, it's like you looking at a chart, right? You just immediately can see, oh my God, I know this pattern. I can see why in the crown chakra, there's the courting, the breakup, the memory of the breakup, but also the I'm all alone feeling.
Yeah.
But also why before that there was I'm broken, all these things are, even though they were all at the same time, they all tie into each other.
They do.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yep. Good. Is there more? Yeah, so the crown chakra is still misaligned. Is it energetic, post-traumatic, offensive, mental? And we can just finish the crown chakra and then will to, no will to, broadcast, memory field, and then I'll leave it for questions too. Is it in column? Is this also in the crown? Okay, good. Before the age of 30, before the age of 25, before the age of 20. Yep, so it's that time, it's that breakup. It caused the misalignment in the crown chakra. 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, because it is 23. The universe hates me is the belief that was created. Can I clear this? And that's, you know, the wording, but it's like, it can be anything around that makes sense for you. But it's around this idea that the divine hates me. Yeah. It's out to get me. Okay. You know?
So you don't have to do the magnet on me, just on you?
Just on me.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes like my really, the clients that want to be interactive, I'll give them a magnet, or they'll be, if it's on Zoom, they'll get one, or they'll just use it and they'll do it with me. So you can, but it's not necessary, yeah. Okay. But it's like, it goes back to exactly what you said, which is what I love about this work, and I'm so grateful I fell into it, because like you said, every time we clear someone, we're clearing the collective. Yes. I'm clearing it from me for you.
Yes.
That's what's so cool about this.
Now it makes sense.
You get it? Like I'm just clearing it from the field.
Yeah. Because you're clearing you and it's clearing me.
Totally. Yes.
Amazing.
So it's like, where does this exist in me?
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh,
and now I ask, and it says the crown chakra is not misaligned.
Yes.
Yep. Do you want me to clear one more big thing and see if there's one more? Let's see if there's one more thing. Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah. So, okay, let's clear the next. So that was when I said, can we clear the biggest thing affecting your sleep? And it was this crown chakra misalignment. And what I always tell people is, not all, like it doesn't mean that you, for the last, since you were 23, have had a misaligned crown. Sometimes the misalignment doesn't get created till we're holding on to something for 40 years. Then all of a sudden, like you might come to me in, let's say 6 months, and I say, oh, your crown chakra is misaligned. And you're like, we already did that. Yeah, but now this thing from when you were 2 moved up its way. And now, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's good to always just clear. Not just with me, but like through astrology, through meditation, through Kriya, through just whatever practice, constantly clearing.
Yes.
Just clear all this stuff. Let it go, all of it. And there's always more.
Oh, I know.
There's people who have worked with me. We talked about this, remember, where I was like, some people who have done 6 months with me, and then it's done, and they'll do another 6 months, and then it's done, and they'll do another, and I'm like, what is there? There's nothing left. Yeah. And then, but we do it, and I'm like, wow, all this stuff is still coming up.
Huh, yeah.
You know? So there's always something. That doesn't mean you have to do that.
Right.
I think once you clear your heart and a couple of other things, you're in a good place.
I agree. You know, there's a reason why heart disease is the leading cause of death in the world, because, you know, all this hurt affects the heart. So true.
And I always, whenever somebody doesn't know what to work on, I say, let's clear your heart.
Yeah.
You know? And it's the one they feel the most. That's the one where people, I'm like, I'm lightheaded, I'm dizzy, I'm whatever. That's the one.
Yeah.
Because it's the shield you put up around your heart to protect yourself. Yes. But what is it doing? I always tell people, yes, you are protecting yourself. There is a defense there where you're not going to get hurt again. You already know that betrayal. But you're also not going to feel joy. You're not going to feel peace. You're not going to feel love. You're keeping everything out.
Yes.
This wall is doing such a good job. Yes, it's protecting you, but protecting you from things you want to feel too.
I get it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like you want that vulnerability again, because it's going to let everything in.
Okay.
You know?
Exactly.
So I love working on people's heart. It's my favorite. So I'm like, just do that. If you're going to do one thing, just do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you're working on the Venus energy, so.
Oh, you're right. And that's my chart.
Yeah.
Remember, you're like, my moon is Venus.
Yes. Well, yes. So, well, no, Venus is your chart ruler.
My chart ruler, my ascendant.
because you're Libra rising, but you know, in the chakras, Venus rules the heart because Venus rules love.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's clear the biggest
It's all
possible block.
interconnected, isn't it?
It's so connected.
Yeah,
That's why
everything.
I love this podcast. Is I talk to people who are like my last guest was a polymath, a mathematician,
Wow.
but describing literally what you described earlier about like the relationship between the planets.
Yeah.
But he's doing it from a math perspective. You're doing it from an astrological perspective. Then I'll have like energy healers. Then I'll have like nutritionists. But all these people who are like, it's so funny how I'm like understanding through different modalities how it all connects.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And I'm like, wow, this is not separate. You actually, when we did our interview for my show, and you talked about something, and I didn't want to interrupt, but it was like something about the, what is this chakra related to?
Mars.
Mars.
Yes.
And I thought, because you said this is the fire, you specifically said it's not in your heart, it's in your stomach. Well,
Yes.
and I studied Ayurveda with Deepak Chopra. I did his certification, and one of the first things you learn, your fire is in your stomach, the Agni.
Really? Yeah.
Agni, that's your digestive fire, the fire, everything is
Exactly.
in your stomach. And you're saying now Mars is in your stomach. That's where the heat is. It's so true. It's like it
is.
all correlates.
Because, you know, it's called the solar plexus, and so people think
Yes.
it must be the sun, but it's Mars.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So I'm asking now, what's the next biggest thing that's affecting your sleep? And it tells me it's something around what we did earlier, like there's like something according or an energy. Is it a curse? No. Is it a chord? Is it according? Is it hypnotic suggestion? Okay, so it's a saboteur. So it's a negative energy. It's like a knife in your back. Somebody backstabbing you, but it's energetic. So it could even be, I had this a couple days ago actually, where it was somebody's business partner, and they've been business partner for 20 years. And because he really wanted to know who it was. And I said, you have this from age 26, I think it was, and it's a negative energy, a knife in your back. And I told him, because he wanted to know who it was, I said, it's your business partner. And he said that was around the age where we were having a lot of issues. You know, he's like, we're good now, but that was the age where it was like things were
Surprised they
tense.
still work together.
I know. That's why I was impressed. Like they made it work. Good for them.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Good for them. But my point to that is though, I've seen it with best friends. I've seen it with married people. It's just like sometimes there's conflict and we send each other a little negative hit, but it got stuck. And that's all this is. It just got stuck.
Interesting, okay.
So can we get an age for when the saboteur energy was directed at you? Okay, before the age of 20, no, before 30, before 40, before 40, before 35, 35, 34, 33. Is this for Joni? Is that age 33?
33.
Family member? It's not a family member. Husband, kids, no. Not husband or kids, not a family member. Somebody you worked with? Nope. Client? Could have been a client.
Really?
Could have been a client.
33 that a client I felt backstabbed from?
Is it somebody that you
that
worked
right?
with? Yeah. Not backstab, not betrayal. It's just that they sent some negative energy. And you know what negative energy can be, by the way? Jealousy. So you know, because you've traveled so much and you love Istanbul, the third eye. I mean,
Yeah.
the evil eye.
Yeah.
That's all about keeping jealousy away, because they really know the power of somebody sending jealousy at you is this. That's what I'm clearing.
I see.
Somebody being real, like, why does she have that? Oh, how come she can do all, who does she think she has? Like, all that is saboteur energy.
They're sending that jealousy
Exactly.
your way.
And that can really, I mean, in my culture, Mediterranean culture, you know this from being in Istanbul so much too. In Mediterranean culture, this is a very serious thing. Like they'll have full on, they'll pray over a glass of water and have you drink it if you feel like somebody has sent you jealousy. And they because they know it can cause misalignments, imbalances. I mean, in this case, it's actually contributing to you not being able to sleep all these years later.
Wow. That makes sense.
Yeah, I really want to hear how you sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Do you want to stop it there? Or do you want me to keep going?
Whatever you want to do.
It's up to you. It's your show. Because we can always finish it off camera too. I think it gives people an idea of how it looks.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, we can stop there then. Yeah.
It's really interesting stuff that comes up though. And, you know, in fact, actually, let's just do one more.
Okay.
Because I'm actually wondering, I want to see if something like completely different from what we have cleared comes up that can be fun to explain.
Yeah.
Okay, let's actually go beyond sleep.
I
and I'll
bet
say,
you get so many deep stories from people.
oh wow, totally.
I bet you've seen it all.
But that's what's cool.
Gut-wrenching.
Yes. But I will say also that now it helped me so much with the judgment, because people will tell me sometimes the most sad or horrific things.
Yeah.
And I'm literally just like, okay, let's clear it.
Yeah.
I don't need to like delve into the story, because when I first started doing this, I would take on so much energetically. After almost every session,
you can't.
I would run to the bathroom and throw up.
Oh,
because I was just taking on all their stuff. And now I realize how to be like, okay, this is your story. I feel for you, but I'm gonna just stay over here and clear it.
That's the difference between sympathy and compassion.
Right.
Sympathy is like you jump in the water and try to save somebody and you drown with them.
Yes.
But compassion is where you stay on board and throw them a life preserver and pull them in.
Yeah, that's such a great analogy. Such a great metaphor. And that's exactly what I feel now.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna bring you to me.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
So what's coming up here is that there's an allergy, but I don't know yet, because I love when this comes up, because sometimes it's an allergy to a physical thing or a food, and sometimes it's an allergy to an idea or an allergy to a belief. Like I've had one, actually it was a couple weeks ago, this woman she said she was allergic to becoming like her mother. That was the allergy. And she was like, that's so true.
Oh, that's so funny.
So, okay, it's an allergy, yes, to an idea.
To an idea.
Yes, is this idea, let's see what it is. Can we get this idea? Good. Good. Okay, we got it. Oh, so interesting. Yeah, and I knew it because all these other ones that I was asking, I'm like, this is not Joni. Like, so I was like, she's allergic to herself, her own thoughts, being herself? No, allergic to growing up. But I can totally see that because but I actually like this quality in people who I feel like that I really resonate with, who are like still active and excited. You were just in Japan last week and you're already excited about your next trip and like, but that's the positive, and we'll keep that, right? Because I always tell people, I'm not looking for the positive stuff. I'm not even looking for it.
Yeah.
I'm only looking for the negative things. So this one is not serving you. It's actually when I asked for one of the biggest blocks affecting you now. So for you, it's allergic to growing up. That could be what's keeping you up at night. Partly, it could be something else, but subconsciously, there's something about the idea of growing up. You know what I mean? And it could, but part of that
getting old.
Right? Yeah, which everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. So we will clear that, but we'll keep all the positive stuff, obviously, which is like the wanting to stay young and have adventure and all that, but just not the allergy. We don't want to be allergic to growing up.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to want to like not grow up, that's fine, but not to be allergic to it.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what we're clearing.
There's such a charge to it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I could see that. I could see not wanting, I mean, I love life and I don't want to ever not love life and not be here, but you know, that's probably it.
Well, you'll never not be here, right? I mean, you'll not be here in this form.
Exactly.
But I get it. It's like, well, look, we chose some fun forms. I'm like, I don't want to do this again. I finally like chose something I'm enjoying. This is fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have fun every day doing what I do.
Yeah.
I don't want to give that up.
I really get it. I get it.
Yeah, that's funny.
This is fun. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
I think in our conversation, we really went in mine for the Quite Frankly podcast, which I can't wait for people to listen to. There's a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I was trying to stay super focused.
Yeah.
But now in this one, because I feel like you're interviewing me, I can just like relax and not think, and I'm just having fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
So I like
you are
this.
having fun.
Yeah.
Your eyes are gleaming and sparkling, so it's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So is there anything else you want to say about the work you do, or you want people to know about?
I mean, I would love for people to even like just come and DM me or like on Instagram or like send a message if you're curious, but definitely go to the website. Because there's so many testimonials there, and there's also like kind of what we just did. There's like video demonstrations of me showing on stage, working with people. There was this one girl, I spoke at a conference. She was a teen, maybe early college years. And she DM'd me recently and she said, you know, you worked on me at a conference. I don't know if you remember, and I didn't, because she had just come up randomly on stage. And she said, I told you that I've always been an opera singer, but I'm scared and I can't sing in front of people, but I want to. And I said, okay, so we cleared it on stage apparently. And she told me a few weeks later, she sang in front of 10,000 people at a Tony Robbins conference.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I love getting messages. I just love hearing from people. So if they're
That's good.
curious, if they want to do a session, any of that, like I love this work and this is all I want to do.
Well, it inspires you to want to do more when you feel like you've helped somebody.
And especially with what you've told me, where this year there's like a lot of people who are looking for healing and need this. And it's like, it's time.
Yeah.
This is the time to like, we're moving into you know this way more than I can ever explain it, but with the yugas in Hinduism and the different cycles, we're moving from a very dense one to a much less dense one.
Exactly.
So we need to just drop this stuff that we're holding on to. So we don't, because if you really want to ascend and go to all these places that we're going to be going to, you can't bring this with you.
That's true. That's 100% true. I think that this work is so vitally important, what you're doing, and I know it's works, and I know that this is the trend of the future, because a couple of years ago I was saying that there's going to be a new way of healing, and it's going to really heal, and it's not anything from the traditional way of healing, such as taking medicines or poisons, antibiotics, things like that. It's going to work with energy, and it's going to work with the emotional body, and this is the new trend of healing, where it's all coming from. And I got that mainly because of where the planets are going. Particularly Saturn right now is going into the nakshatra, or it's back and forth into the nakshatra called Shatabishak, and it's called the 100 Healers. And what it deals with is healing hard to cure diseases. And in my estimation with that, the hardest to cure diseases are mental diseases. And think about how many people in the world, everyone's affected by addictions.
I was just going to say addiction. It's one of the most common that I get.
And it's the hardest to cure in the world, but it's the most common. You know, every family has had somebody that was plagued with addictions, such as, you know, a child, a father, a cousin, everyone.
So true.
And if we could really get a handle on mental disease, addiction, think about how that would change the world. And I think that's what you're doing here.
Oh,
so I
thank
want to
you.
commend you on that.
Thank you for that. And I really do feel that. And it's so funny because, you know, before I would have been like, oh, thank you. But now it's like you said, when we cleared all that unworthiness and I'm like, no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And I don't say that from an ego place. I say that from you're right. We need more people doing this stuff.
It's true.
And to learn about this stuff, because I don't want to sweep it under the rug anymore. You're right. It is powerful and it can help a lot of people. And I love that you said emotional body specifically. That's so interesting that you knew that.
And just think if everybody combined astrology with your healing work.
Oh, yeah.
Think about how this world would really turn around things. This is so important, and this is the trends, and I know it's happening. And isn't it funny how you and I have come together now with all of this? At this time, when I've been seeing that this is the trends of healing that's coming with astrology.
And I've been leaning, so it's funny, as you've been seeing that, but you don't do it, and as I've been leaning more toward astrology, but I don't do that.
Yes.
You know, maybe we both start doing, maybe you start working with magnets and I start working with astrology. I mean, think about a practice like that.
I think this is where it's got to go. Because, you know, if you can still see things, how do you actually heal them? I know I healed them by telling people certain things, especially like when a cycle is
going to be. And to prepare for it.
Yes, prepare. Or when a cycle is going to be over.
Yeah.
That gives people, I mean, I get all the time people saying, you know, and I know you get this too, you've changed my life.
Yes.
And there's nothing that doesn't empower me more to want to go back and continue what I'm doing, because there's not a better feeling to know that you've changed people's lives for the better.
So true. These messages, I'm sure you get the emails and the whatever. When I read it, it makes my whole day.
It makes your heart sing, doesn't it?
It does.
Just it feels so good.
And it's like I'm never jaded by it. I'm always still surprised.
Yes.
Every time I'm like,
Me
whoa,
too.
right?
Believe it or not. I don't know why we don't get over it.
I can't imagine I'll ever be over it. It's just like, it's a miracle. And it's like being in awe of the miracle.
It's true.
Like, wow. It's not even awe of myself.
Yeah.
Or of you know, I'm sure you too, you're in awe of yourself. You're just like, wow, in awe of the system.
Yes.
It really is that perfect.
It is.
And we get to understand it a little bit.
Why is it we don't know it? I guess when we are self-realized, that's when we will know it and just be, yeah.
And like you said in our interview for my shows, like, you'll just know. It's not a belief. It's just, you just know.
Right. It's beyond belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're taking this.
Thank you. I'm so excited for people. I want all of my clients to know about you and to go to your work.
Well, same here.
And I know you're doing the same with me, so thank you.
You're so welcome. You know, I want to help people that are helping the world and make it a better place. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know what else? It's fun.
Yes, yes, yeah. How much fun do we have, even just talking?
I know.
And I'll get on the phone with you, and I just like feel like I'm talking to like a good friend, good friend from forever.
Fun.
Yeah, yeah. When you love life and other people love life, and you come together, it's beautiful.
And like I always say, it is when we learn to love everything in this planet and in this world, that's when we reach that point of nirvana, or where we don't need to reincarnate here anymore. But you know what I believe, and this is what's been said, is that once you do reach that place, then from the other side you help others, like all the avatars and the saints, because you just love
I can see
life. And you want everyone to excel and do well, and you just give love. Because what is the old adage? Love heals everything. Yeah. And that's where we are.
And how true.
Yeah.
Right, but it's so different when we grow up and we were like reading it on a Hallmark card. Yeah. And because we're like, oh, love heals, love heals. We've heard it so much that it's almost like we just go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you really look into it and you go, wow, love really does heal.
It's true. It is the bottom line. That's what heals all. Real, unconditional love. And that's what everyone says when they're going to that light, when they leave their body, that's the love they feel, and it's unimaginable and can't even be put into words. But that's what we're all here to discover and feel, I think. And that heals everything.
So true, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Joni.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.